Well, greetings, everyone. This is another Candid Conversations with Chenille. I am so excited on tonight because we have another topic that's sure to enlighten. And so last week, we've been talking about the common thread. Sometimes those common threads are those hidden threads, those things that we cannot see that we have in common with others. And so I'm excited to share on tonight. We're going to talk about the fear factor, the invisible thread. Yes, this is going to be a great topic. It is sure to add to your knowledge and also your wisdom as well as your understanding. So, we're going to look at fear from just a little bit different way than what we normally do. Well, as I was preparing for this, the very first thing I thought about when it comes to fear, interestingly, I thought about this. How many of you are familiar with this gentleman right here? Is anybody on here that absolutely loved Fear Factor besides me? And why would I love Fear Factor when I'm one of the ones that's so fearful of every single thing? But this dude right here used to make this show so interesting. And so as we think about Fear Factor, what are the some of the things that we noted? Well, the show was about different stunts that would take place. And most of the time, the first stunt was always some type of physical stunt. And typically, interestingly, it was the people on the show were always kind of set up in teams. And so that was interesting because most times in my observation, what would happen is the one that was the most scared of the stunt, it seems like they were always the one to get selected for that particular stunt. So, again, the first stunt was always something that was physical. So, if we remember the show, it was where they had to climb up on this high building and jump to the other side of the building. Or one of the competitors would be in a helicopter and they had to hang outside of the helicopter. Do you all remember that? And they had to grab the red flag. Well, I want to put you on notice that if it was me, we would have lost immediately. Because if I had to jump from one building to the other building, or even hang out of a helicopter, then we may as well go ahead and go home. You know, when people get sent home, you can see the back of their heads walking up that long green mile. Yes, that's what you would have saw. The back of our heads going up that long green mile headed off of the show. And then the second thing that they would do, it would be a mental challenge. Oh my God. How many of you remember this mental challenge? So you know that it was something gruesome. And so the mental challenge typically consisted of eating something or eating some type of body part. Okay, so again, I am at the game. Eating something. Okay, let's think about what they were eating. Cockroaches. I'm done. A regular cockroach, a fried cockroach, a cockroach dipped in chocolate. It does not matter. If it's a roach, I'm done with it. And so if it wasn't the roaches, then it may be eating some type of body part. You know, they would eat liver, I don't want to name some of the things that they would eat, but it would be stuff that we don't normally eat. And so that would be one of the challenges. And then it could even be where they let scorpions crawl over their body, or spiders crawl over their bodies, or their heads are lodged in a cage. And now the insects are crawling around in the cage, trying to, I guess they're just crawling. And so the object of the contestant is you had to keep your mouth closed. And so again, that would have been, it would have put me completely out of the game. Eating something or letting something crawl on me would put me out the game. As a matter of fact, if a bug flew by me that wasn't even a part of the game, I was going home. So when we think about fear factor, it triggered. I couldn't help but immediately think about this game. And so the third thing is where they do a stunt, and it's always like that of some type of action movie. Okay, so when you look, it's always something where they're up underwater. They're having to do something up underwater. They're having to do something as it relates to a vehicle, 9 times out of 10, or it involved heights. Again, I am out of the game. I would have not made it to stunt 2 or 3 by the time we started the contest. And so, as we think about this, the thing that I noticed with fear factor is this: not one contestant was there without a fear. And so, all too often, we think about, so and so doesn't seem like they're fearful of anything. But I came to tell you that we do all have a common thread, because we're all fearful of something. So it may not be bugs crawling on us. It may not be the heights from a building. It may not even be being enlarged up underwater. But there is something that we are all fearful of. And so I wanted to lead into this segment of talking about the fear factor. Why do we talk about this? Because fear can hinder us. Fear can stop progress. And the other thing that I found out about fear too is that it may not always be so easily recognized. Some of our behaviors, some of the ways that we react, it's because we're fearful. So, just for a moment, let's talk about some of the common fears, things that we're kind of familiar with. So, some of the fears in the 21st century is, of course, fear of failure. Nobody wants to fail. And so, when we look at this in the 21st century, everything is so fast paced, so rapid. We don't want to be left behind. And so now there's that fear of failure. Am I going to be able to keep up? Am I going to be able to do what it is that I need to do? Am I going to be relevant in the 21st century? And so those are fears. Fear of rejection and social judgment. Most individuals do not want to be rejected. They want to be embraced. They want to be accepted. They want to be loved. They want to be recognized. They want it known that, hey, I exist too, or hey, I'm over here as well. Then there's the fear of missing out, fear of not being connected to social events. Now, we may not see that as a fear, but people really do inwardly, internally struggle with being left out. It's the same thing. You don't want to miss out because you don't want to be left out. And so in the 21st century, what we're seeing is people are kind of gravitating to those who are able to keep up it with in this 21st century. We live in a time now where people don't have a lot of time, or they don't want to expend a lot of time training and helping others who may not be as acclimated with everything that the 21st century is offering. Then there's the fear of loneliness and isolation. That's interesting because the world is offering so much, and it does not matter how timid we are, how introverted we are, there can be a fear of loneliness and isolation. Nobody at times, even though you may like your own space, you may enjoy being by yourself, you do not want to be lonely. Those bouts of being able to enjoy your own spaces, typically those are in ways that you desire. When I desire to step off and to be by myself, but not because I'm lonely, not because I'm isolated from everybody. Normally we want to be in control of that. And so these are just common fears in the 21st century. But I want to take a deeper look at fear factors that we may not be so easy. It may not be so easy for us to recognize. Okay, so first, let's do this. Let's look at fear, because remember, I told you that everybody has some type of fear. Don't you let, or don't you think just because people look courageous, they look like they have it all together, they look like they don't have any problems, they look like nothing rattles them, nothing bothers them. You can never go by what it looks like. Again, remember, I said that we all have some type of fear. So first, let's define what is fear. And so fear, it's an emotional response to a perceived threat or danger. It is a basic survival mechanism that triggers our body's fight or flight response. It's preparing to either confront something or to flee from it. And so fear is going to cause us to stand up or stand down. Simply said, we're going to stand up or we're going to stand down. And even if we have to stand down, it is not an indication that we are weak. Okay, so we're going to look at 5 uncommon fears that we may overlook. And so, for a very transparent moment, I am going to share with you up front that I could be found in every last one of these until I learned how to address, how to admit, and then how to identify, then address that I'm saying is this, but actually fear is the underlying factor. Okay? All right. So, what I want you to do before we get into it, I want you to try and name one uncommon fear factor that we may not always think of. So I'm going to give you about 1 minute to do this because I want to hear from you. What is one uncommon fear factor that we may not always think of? Where is fear sometimes hidden? Think about that. We all have fears, but what's one uncommon? What are some of the uncommon types of fears? And what I found out is it's found in our behavior. I'm laughing only because once I begin to share some of these, many of us are going to find ourselves right in the midst of this as well. Hmm. Common fear, communication. That's good. Hmm. Change. Very good. Confrontation. Oh, that's excellent. Fear of dying. That's definitely one. Oh, you all are coming up with some good ones. Any others? Okay. All right. So let's jump in. Are you excited? I'm so excited. So the first one is resistance to encouragement or motivation. Can you believe that? Resistance to encouragement or motivation. So, what does that look like? It simply looks like we resist when someone tries to encourage us or motivate us to do something that we're fearful of. That's crazy, right? Think about it. If we don't want to do something, then we do what? We buck. How do we buck? In our mannerisms, in our behavior, in our attitude. What does that look like? It looks like shutting down. It looks like a defense mechanism. It looks like getting angry and upset. Why? Because all of those things equate to I don't want to do it. This stems from what? A fear of failure. It's self doubt. And so, no matter what somebody is saying to us, if we're fearful, we will not perceive it that way. I did tell you that I could be found at some point in my life in all five of these. So, let me give you a very true and a very recent example. One thing that I want to put out there is if we're fearful, we will not see things as positive encouragement. We'll always see it as pressure, that someone is pressuring me to do this, someone is pressuring me to do that. And so we begin to resist that encouragement, that motivation. So when people try to push us, we push back. Now, if I'm not talking to anybody else tonight, I'm talking about what my behavior used to be. If someone tried to push me, to motivate me, even when I knew that what they were saying was right, when they pushed, I would push back. When they encouraged, I would find a reason why it was not that. When they said something positive, I would find a reason why, but this happened, or but this is a part of it. This is a factor. Mm-mm-mm. When we do not accept encouragement from other people, we self destruct. We destroy our own selves. We don't even give ourselves time to think highly of ourselves. And I'm not talking about that highly meaning we're cocky or anything like that. I'm talking about we don't give ourselves a chance for thinking about all of the things that's not right. Or when we resist encouragement and motivation, we can shut all the way down. Okay, I said I was going to share with you all an example, a very recent example. So many of you may know that I am in the PhD program. And so I'm working diligently to try and finish this dissertation. And so, as a part of the program, we have an opportunity to get an executive mentor. And so, initially I was like, well, I don't know if I need to do it. But then I was like, hey, if they have it from for our program, I definitely want to do it. I spend so much time pouring into others. And so, but I love learning. That's one thing about me. I love learning. And so I had this executive mentor. And so through our relationship and reviewing my resume and looking over my history and just talking about a myriad of things, she suggested in that what I should do as it relates to revamping my business. But mind you, she had asked me, what did I think? And so, sometimes we can get extremely deep about stuff. Okay, let me bring that closer to home. We can make everything be spiritual and about what God said and about, I'm a dreamer. And so I had this dream that I felt like was on point. So when I met with my mentor, she shared with me what she thought, you know, based on everything, having spent time with me, listening to me, reviewing things about, mind you, this is what I do to others in my line of work. So after she had done that, oh, it's good to see you, cuz after she had done that, and she told me, I was so excited. I shared with her my dream and what I thought that I should be doing once I finished and I began to revamp. And so she sat back, and it's almost as if it let the air out of her. And so she began to share with me again, a little stronger, what she saw in me and why. Okay, I don't want to tear up. Why? Because that resistance to encouragement or motivation, then I sat and became deflated. You have to hear me on tonight. This is for somebody. I became so, it let the air out of me because I was so excited about what I thought. Just because I'm a mentor to others and I can hear and sense and da 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 da, I signed up because I wanted assistance with my next move. And so when it seemed as if she didn't embrace it again, it deflated me. Subtle. Let me tell you this subtle stuff we do. So subtly, I was like almost closed minded. I felt the tears well up, and I was so excited about it, but she stood firm. And she said to me, with your experience, your expertise, you've done this for this amount of years. I don't understand why you won't give yourself a chance. And I sat, and it took everything in me not to cry, because I realized I was not giving myself a chance. And so a lot of times we resist that encouragement. I did not want to bear the responsibility of, or I didn't want to hear somebody say, "You're good at this. You're an expert at this. People need what you have. Don't everybody have this? You have something unique. You're passionate about what you do. You're not out there taking advantage of clients. You're not looking to make a dollar, but what you are is good at what you do." Why can't we accept that we're good at something? Why can't we embrace the fact that it is what it is? Why do we have to self-sabotage? Why do we have to look for the next big thing when what God has given us will work right now, in this moment? Oh my God. I don't want to get stuck there, but I can get stuck right there with how we resist encouragement. How many times has somebody told you something great about what you do and you flip it and say something negative? How many times? How many times do you move on to the next thing, not maximizing right where you are? Oh, that's good. Okay, that's number one. We're just on number one. I said we're going to do 5, right? Let's go on to number 2. Another uncommon fear factor: perfectionism and over preparation. When we're fearful, we hide behind perfectionism, spending too much time preparing for something, over and over and over and over, trying to perfect what's already been perfected. You know why we do that? Because we're making sure that there is no room for failure. Oh, that's good. So we keep preparing over and over and over. We find something wrong. Okay, this is what I have laid out. This is how I'm going to do it. And then, okay, wait a minute. It's not ready. I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to add this. I need to run it by this person. Every reason not to do it, because at the end of the day, it's a fear factor. Never thought about it that way. Perfectionism and over preparing. And at the end of the day, we don't want to fail. So we're doing everything to ensure that we don't fail. And the bigger picture is we have cut God out of it. Let me give you another example, talking about me. When it came to candid conversations, this was laid on me now about 4 years ago. And so anybody that knows me know that I don't like to just put anything out. In my mind, I have to have every single thing in place. Not only am I representing myself, but I feel like I'm representing God. And so I can remember I did the first Candid Conversations with Chenille. Nobody knew it, but when I finished that segment, I went through all kind of things because to me, it was not quite what I wanted. And because it wasn't, it delayed me about 2 years, sitting and searching and trying to find a way to make sure the backdrop was right, the letters was right, the flyers were right, this was right. Until one day, it's like the Spirit of God said so plain to me, I don't care about none of that. You care about the decor. You care about how it looks. You care about this being in place. You care about the flyers. You care about the advertisement. I don't care about none of that. What I care about is the word that I put in you. And it's the word that needs to be heard, not your decor being seen, not the flyers being on point, none of that. And so when God said that to me, it was like a punch in the stomach because I realized that the root of that, again, was fear. Because in all actuality, I feel like I failed during that first broadcast. Nobody else did. In spite of all the calls, in spite of people inboxing saying that it was a blessing to them, I wasn't satisfied, but God was. If we don't address and admit some of our fears, then we will not go forward. Fear will be the shackle that forever binds us. I hope this is helping somebody because these are fears that can be buried, not easily recognizable. And you know, when you say, again, me, I'm just shy. I'm too busy. I don't have time to do it yet. So-and-so do that better. This person should be doing it. They're not going to receive me. They're not going to take it as that. All of those are talks from a place of fear. Okay. Number 3, another fear factor, difficulty setting healthy boundaries. Fearful people cannot set healthy boundaries. Most of the time, we will allow people to run all over us. Healthy boundaries sometimes mean saying, no, I can't. No, you can't borrow it. No, I can't help you. Because what happens when we're not able to set healthy boundaries, then we're not healthy enough for the people that are supposed to be a part of the boundary, of the non-boundary. When we cannot set healthy boundaries, we are locking out people that are supposed to be a part of where we are at this moment. It's crazy because most of the time, people that don't need to be in are always in. People that need to be in are always out. Oh my God. When we don't set healthy boundaries, we're tired. We don't have time to even try to figure out who's supposed to be in our life right now and who's not supposed to be in our life. Oh my God, that's powerful. When you don't set healthy boundaries, you're going to take anything that's given to you. And the thing that gets me is people who impose on other people and barge right into their lives. It's funny that most of the time they're not going to let you do that in their life. They can always say, no, nope, I don't feel like doing it. Nope, I can't help you. Nope, I'm not going to do this. Nope. And you know what they do? They say no, and they can get off the phone and not think about you any further. They can say no and go to sleep at night. They can tell you no and then turn around 2 days later and inconvenience you again. Ooh, that's good right there. And you know why we do it? You know why we cannot set these healthy boundaries? We have a fear of rejection. We don't want to be rejected. We don't want people to not fool with us. If you've ever experienced rejection, rejection is something that will follow you for the rest of your life if you don't deal with it. And every decision you make will be from a lens of rejection. The way you see things will be from a place of rejection. And when we've been rejected, our ultimate goal is not to be rejected again. And if we have an opportunity to come into relationship with other people, we lose ourselves because we're trying so hard to please that other person so we will not be cast to the side. So we will not be ignored. Rejection is powerful. Oh my God. It will change the way you see everything. That's why we have to go to the doctor and get regular checkups so we can make sure that our eyesight has not changed for the worse. I can remember being younger, and I've always had problems with my eyes. But when you're younger, your eyesight, well, let me take that back. My eyesight was a lot better than what it is now. But as the years progressed, my eyesight started to worsen. And because my eyesight was worsening, that means the strength of my contacts had to get a little bit stronger. If it didn't, everything that I saw would be blurred. So whatever I saw would be from a place where I lacked vision. So it looked like what I thought it was, but it may not have necessarily been that. You know, when you sit in the chair and they give you that little eye chart and they tell you to read it, yeah, I tell them to go on and flip mine about 3 more times. Because right now, I cannot see if that's a C, a E, or an O. So I need you to flip it a couple more times so I can clearly see if it's a C, if it's an E, or if it's an O. And so we have to make sure that we're not operating from places of rejection. I can't talk about that tonight, but maybe I need to do a full broadcast on rejection. Check our time. Okay. Another uncommon fear factor, underestimating our abilities. Oh my goodness. Do you doubt yourself? Do you underestimate what you can do? I talked about that a little bit in my first example. We doubt, we underestimate our own abilities. How many times have people come to us asking us to do something because they can see it and we can't? My undertaking and a lot of what I do in business, it was not because Chenille could see it first. It was because others saw what was in me before I ever saw it. I couldn't see it, but they did. I didn't know I was so proficient in business, but other people did. So when they asked me to do this, it wasn't a problem. I just did it, not even knowing that I could do it. Sometimes we underestimate our abilities to the point where we hide it. It seems like I'm going to raise my hand the entire time tonight. Are you one of the ones that don't like to be put on the spot? You don't like to be acknowledged? You don't like for people to say, hey, oh my God, you're good at that. Are you the one that put all of your accomplishments somewhere, put it in a closet and not think twice about it? Let me take it a little bit further. Are you the one that will not go on social media and say anything about yourself, your accomplishments, your achievements, only because you don't want people to feel some type of way? It's still a form of underestimating your own abilities. Another form, self-sabotage. How many of us are doing this? How many of us are underestimating our own abilities? Let me tell you what else that looks like. That looks like buying into everybody else's vision. Isn't it funny that we don't see it in ourselves, but other people do? And so when they're doing anything, it's not funny to you that they always come and get you to help do it, or you to do it. We underestimate our own self. We underestimate that we have the goods while everybody else is pulling on them, they're using them, it's benefiting them to the fullest, while we're still sitting to the side thinking of every reason why it can't be us. We're thinking of every reason why we can see somebody else doing it and cannot see ourselves doing it. So much so, I'm this type of person. I'm a very service-oriented person. I am a servant leader at heart. I will help anybody. As a matter of fact, I'll help others more than I help myself. And that has been a struggle for me, because at some point I need to focus on, I say I had to focus on what it is that I'm supposed to be doing. But it was easier for me to focus on somebody else because of the fear factor. Maybe I won't have the help that I'm giving others. Maybe others won't be to me that I've been to others. All these things go through our heads, and all it does is immobilize us. I seen that on here earlier. It immobilizes us. Some of us are more comfortable helping others rather than doing something that will benefit others that we've started, that we've led. Oh my God. That fear factor and how we hide can be detrimental to our purpose. Do you know that somebody is waiting on you to start the business, to do the nonprofit? Somebody is waiting on you. But we're hidden behind our fear factors. Number 5, avoiding new opportunities. How many of us run from new opportunities? Oh my God. A lot of times the opportunities will find us, but we can be so fearful that we'll run from it. I'm going to share another example, but this time I did so much better. And so over the last, I'll say, few weeks, when I tell you that opportunities have been running me down. Mind you, after I met with the mentor, I hung up the phone. I said, I'm done. I'm going to maximize and do what I know I'm supposed to be doing. And it seems it was not maybe the next day, somebody reached out to me. Hey, we need a fiscal expert in South Carolina. This, that, and the third is going on. And they want to have somebody on there that can really help them. Okay. All right. Let's talk money. See, that right there would have been hard for me to say. You know what I would have said? Okay, not knowing what I was going to get paid. When you don't know your worth, don't expect other people to know it. If you're scared to say what you're worth, don't be upset when people underbid you. Oh, don't be upset when the price come in low. Oh my God. Nevertheless, I said, okay, we talked numbers. I immediately modified my schedule. While I'm on site, the day before the last day, another client I had assisted up under another job inboxed me on Facebook and said, hey, I know you're not here anymore, this, that, and third, but are you still doing fiscal consulting? Absolutely, I'm doing fiscal consulting. Listen, I have this, that, and the third going on. I need an expert. And I need you like yesterday. Oh my God. Oh my God. So I say, give me a moment. I'm on site with another client. However, give me a moment to get back to the hotel and I send you a proposal. Okay, do that. Soon as I sent the proposal, typically my proposal comes before the contract. Because I want to know, is this something you want to do before I write up a contract? 3, not 5 minutes later. Listen, go ahead and send me the contract. I'm ready to sign it. While on site with this person, this past week, I get another call. I'm not bragging. I'm encouraging you to deal with those fear factors. Because you know what? We hinder ourselves when we don't. When you're afraid, everybody else will know what you possess except you. When you're afraid, you'll still be making what somebody else thinks you automate. Just because I wouldn't have been able to say what I wanted to make, it does not mean that the person that called me was not going to make that full amount that he was going to charge in that contract. You better hear me, and you better hear me good. It's time to deal with the fear factors. Your money is tied up. Purpose, destiny, all the things that you have in your heart to do is tied up because you won't deal with these uncommon fear factors. Remember, I told you everybody has a fear factor. What am I saying? Stop looking at other people and look at what's inside of you. And by that, what I mean, what are you working with? What are the goods that you possess for such a time as this? What has God given you for the 21st century? When I sat and I thought about what God had given me, I cannot be so easily replaced by AI. Oh my God, I feel him. Let's get past those fear factors so we can see what it is that God is doing. Because if God has created us with purpose, our purpose will not be replaced by AI. So that means we got to get before God and understand, what is it that you've given me? Or give me the courage to work what you've given me, even if nobody's ever seen it before. Give me the courage to work it. Give me the courage to not self-assassinate. Give me the courage to brag on my own self. Give me the courage more than anything to see myself like you see me. Oh my God. I'm speaking to everybody on, give us the courage to do what it is that we're supposed to be doing. Yes, AI is here, but purpose been here. Come here, don't rule, been here. Come here, don't rule, been here. And you cannot lay down to AI, but more than that, you can't lay down to your own insecurities. You can't lay down to your own fears. So, how do we, as we prepare to wrap up, how do we overcome fear? The first one thing that came to me, trust somebody. Let me say that a little bit better. Trust the voice. You need somebody in your life that is going to talk opposite of you if you're underestimating yourself. You don't need somebody that's going to say, you're right, you got time. Yes, you're busy. Yes, you can't get to that right now. Yes, you need somebody with discernment that can recognize, oh, that's a fear factor. Right now, you're on top of the building, jumping, afraid to jump to the other side. Oh my God. Yeah, you hanging from the helicopter, scared to grab the flag. Oh my God, you're already hanging. Reach out and get the flag. Oh my God, that's the thing we don't realize. We're already hanging. God has already elevated us. Oh, but we want to pick up where we got to reach down. Oh, but God wants us to reach up. So he's elevated us. Trust somebody. Trust the voice. If you gonna war and fight and buck the voice, that's not your voice. Find somebody else. Oh my God. Because when you trust the voice, you don't wear the voice out. Talking good. Next thing, expose yourself to new experiences. Do something that you have not done before. Stop doing the same old thing. Because really all it does is keeps the fear embedded in our hearts. When we do the same old things over and over. Last, practice self-compassion. The same compassion you have for others, have that compassion for yourself. And so those are the 5 things, those uncommon fear factors. I hope and pray that Candid Conversations with Chenille has been enlightening and it's inspired you to deal with your fear factors. Remember, our conversations may be real, they may be a little bit raw, but they are always going to be relevant. That's it. I want to encourage you, if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please show your girl some love and support and subscribe. Have a phenomenal night. And until next month, take care. Sending my love.